deep into my chronological trudge to the Star Wars saga, and we've arrived at Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, I've been warned off this. People have said it's really bad, but, you know, I have to report that it's,
I got a really good feeling about this.
Well, here we are then. I do this so you don't have to. This is the film that nobody asked for, nobody particularly wanted, and yet somehow cost Disney more money than the GDP of several small nations. After subjecting myself to this particular slice of corporate franchise expansion, I have to report that it's fine. Aye, I know, you heard that right. It's fine. It's not brilliant, but it's not terrible. It's just aggressively, determinedly fine. Like a lukewarm cup of coffee or a conversation with your neighbour about the weather. It's perfectly serviceable and utterly forgettable. Before we dive into the film itself, let's take a moment to appreciate the absolute shambles that was this movie's production. Because honestly, it's more entertaining than anything that ended up on screen. Originally helmed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the duo who gave us the Jump Street movies, Solo was apparently meant to be a comedy. Can you imagine? A Star Wars film with actual humour and personality. The very thought must have given Kathleen Kennedy night terrors. So what did Disney do? Well, they fired them, of course, deep into production, and then brought in Ron Howard, a man so safe, so reliable, so utterly devoid of creative risk-taking that he makes vanilla ice cream look adventurous. Oh, happy days.
Let's do it again real soon.
Fine.
Howard then proceeded to reshoot roughly 70 to 85% of the entire movie, essentially making a completely different movie while the budget exploded like the Death Star over Alderaan. The final tally? Over $250 million, making it the most expensive Star Wars film ever made. That's more than some countries spend on the entire military. I'm looking at you, UK. Also, we could find out how Han Solo got his surname. Spoiler alert, this is disappointingly mundane. Let's address a womp rat in the room. Alden Ehrenreich as a Han Solo. Now, I went into this expecting to absolutely despise this casting choice. Harrison Ford is Han Solo, much like Sean Connery is James Bond. And how haggis are Scottish cuisine. The role seems impossible to recast without triggering an immediate allergic reaction.
My friend is having an allergic reaction to peanuts.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Look, sir, we are very busy here, and I just... Holy crap!
And anyone with functioning eyes and ears. But here's the thing. Alden doesn't completely embarrass himself. He's not Harrison Ford, obviously, and he never will be. But he manages to capture enough of Solo's cocky swagger without it being fully developed because he's obviously much younger, and it doesn't descend into outright parody. It's like a decent cover band playing your favourite song, technically competent, hits most of the right notes, but lacks that indefinable magic that makes you fall in love with the original. The lad tries his best, and in a franchise that's given us Jake Lloyd and Hayden Christensen's romantic dialogue, tries his best is practically Shakespearean.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
If there's one casting choice this film got absolutely right, it's Donald Glover as a young Lando Calrissian. Well, Alden is doing his best Han Solo impression. Donald simply is Lando. He captures Billy D. Williams' smooth charm so perfectly, you almost forget you're watching a different actor. Every scene he's in crackles with charisma and style, making you wish this had been his movie instead. The man could probably charm his way out of a sarlacc pit using nothing but his smile and a well-timed quip. The dynamic between Han and Lando actually works surprisingly well, giving us a glimpse of the friendship that would later be complicated by the odd carbon freezing and betrayal. Their Sabak game, where Han wins the Millennium Falcon, is one of the film's genuine highlights, probably because it's one of the few scenes that feels like it has actual stakes and emotional weight. The story itself is about as surprising as finding out it rains in Glasgow. We follow young Han as he meets Chewbacca, teams up with a crew of criminals, led by Woody Harrelson's Beckett, and gets involved in a heist involving hyperfuel. Along the way, he reconnects with his childhood sweetheart, Kira, played by Emilia Clarke, who's apparently graduated from the Daenerys Targaryen School of Dramatic Eyebrow Acting. The film dutifully ticks off every box on the Han Solo origin story checklist. How he met Chewie, in an admittedly decent scene involving a pit fight. How he did the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, which somehow takes forever to watch despite supposedly being really fast. And how he got his hands on the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. It's like watching someone methodically cross items off a shopping list, except the list was written by a committee of marketing executives and focus group participants. Ron Howard, to his credit, knows how to stage an action sequence. The train heist that opens the film's second act is genuinely thrilling, with practical effects and real stunts that put many modern blockbusters to shame. The Kessel Run sequence, while overly long and somewhat nonsensical, at least provides some visual spectacle. These moments remind you that Howard, whatever his faults, is a technically proficient director who understands the basics of filmmaking. But here's the problem. Competence isn't enough when you're playing in the Star Wars sandbox. Where are the moments that make you gasp? Where's the sense of wonder and discovery that made the original trilogy special? Everything feels calculated and safe, like it was designed by a committee to offend absolutely no one, while thrilling absolutely no one either. Woody Harrelson's Beckett serves as Han's mentor figure, and while Harrelson brings his usual gravitas to the role, the character feels like a collection of crime movie cliches rather than a fully realised person. Emilia Clarke's Kira has potential as Han's lost love, who's gotten mixed up with dangerous people, and, dare I say, turned into a bit of a femme fatale. But the script never quite knows what to do with her beyond serving as a plot device with nice hair. Tandy Newton appears as Val, Beckett's partner, and manages to make an impression despite limited screen time. Unfortunately, like many female characters in this franchise, she exists primarily to provide emotional stakes for the male character's development. It is 2018 there, people. Surely we could do better than that. Oh God, what am I saying? What frustrates me most about Solo is that buried beneath all the corporate mandate and safe storytelling choices, there are glimpses of a genuinely interesting film. The criminal underworld of the Star Wars universe is ripe for exploration, and there are moments when the film almost captures the gritty lived-in feeling that made the original trilogy so compelling. The relationship between Han and Chewbacca develops naturally, giving us believable foundation for their lifelong friendship. The film's exploration of the galactic civil war from the perspective of ordinary criminals and smugglers adds some welcome moral complexity to a universe that can sometimes feel overly black and white. But every time the film threatens to do something genuinely surprising or emotionally resonant, it pulls back, afraid to take any real risks or challenge audience expectations. It's like watching someone learn to swim while wearing a life jacket, water wings, and being tethered to the side of the pool. Perhaps the most telling thing about Solo is how audience responded to it, or rather, how they didn't. Despite costing over $250 million to make, the film only grossed $395 million worldwide. That makes it the first Star Wars film to be considered a box office bomb. That's not even enough to break even when you factor in marketing costs and theatre revenues. The film's failure wasn't just financial, it represented a broader fatigue with the Star Wars brand. Coming just 5 months after The Last Jedi and following Rogue One the year before, audiences were apparently experiencing Star Wars overload. Sometimes, even the most reliable cash cow needs a rest. So where does that leave us with Solo, a Star Wars story? It's a movie that exists, and that's about the highest praise I can muster. It's not actively offensive like the prequel trilogy's romantic dialogue, nor is it as divisive as The Last Jedi. It's simply there, taking up space in the Star Wars canon like that relative who shows up at family gatherings but never quite knows what to say. Ehrenreich makes a decent fist of an impossible task. Glover is genuinely excellent as Lando. And Howard delivers competent direction that gets the job done without setting the world on fire. The action sequences are well staged, the production values are top notch, and the film never quite outstays its welcome, despite feeling longer than the actual Kessel Run. But Not Terrible isn't exactly a ringing endorsement for a Star Wars movie. This is a franchise that gave us the Death Star trench run, the lightsaber duel in Cloud City, and the speeder bike chase on Endor. Oh god, Endor. Solo gives us a perfectly adequate train robbery and some backstory we never particularly needed. You're working your way through the Star Wars saga chronologically, as I foolishly decided to do. Solo fits in just fine between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, just after Rogue One. It doesn't enhance your understanding of the characters or add meaningful depth to the universe, but it doesn't actively harm them either. It's a cinematic equivalent of a pleasant shrug, harmless, forgettable, and ultimately unnecessary. And sometimes in this age of franchise filmmaking gone mad, pleasant enough might just have to be good enough. Though for $250 million, you'd think they could have managed at least quite good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to prepare myself for A New Hope. After this exercise in competent mediocrity, I'm looking forward to remembering why people fell in love with this galaxy far, far away in the first place.
What do you think? Well, what do you know?
I'm great.
What's your name, son?
Hunt.
What? Who are your people?
I don't have people. I'm alone.
Solo. Approved.